this is Emma. Welcome back to my studio, and a very warm welcome to you if you're joining me for the first time here today. Welcome if you found me via Be Creative magazine. There's a really lovely article in here all about me. I have to say I wrote it, but they were very kind enough to give me a whole 2 pages. So welcome if you read that article. It's really lovely to be featured in something like this because I think Be Creative magazine is really good. It's really fun. If you've just joined me because you've just seen the article on textileartist.org, which has just gone live today, then welcome to you as well. I'm very excited to be there again. I was featured on there, I don't know, years ago now when they first started off, when Joe and Sam first set off with their website. It's a fantastic place. If you don't know it, I will leave a link down below. It's a place of great inspiration to me personally. I've read all sorts of articles on that website that have just inspired me. It's so interesting to read about how people got into textile art and the stories that are behind the scenes. It's just really fascinating, and I'm very grateful to them for featuring me again, giving me this opportunity to show off my work, to showcase it, because especially at the moment where the way things are, there aren't many places where you can put your work. And when you're creative, when you're creating things like I do, really what I make does need an audience. It's really nice to have an audience to see it and to share it with, and that's just great. So welcome one and welcome all. It's really lovely to have you here. This is my studio. I live in Cumbria in a very rural little community, very small, and so connecting with you via YouTube is just awesome. It's just amazing, and I'm so delighted to have so many subscribers. It's just really wonderful. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. If you haven't already done so, you just click the subscribe button. There's also, I think there's a thumbs up thing you can do if you like the video, and please do leave me a comment or a question. I do my very best to answer everything that comes up, and it's just really great to connect with you. I feel like this is a bit of a community here now, and that's just really warm and lovely to have, especially at the moment, as I say. So the other thing I just thought I'd mention for those of you who haven't been here before, I've got my very first online workshop up, which is creating a Christmas bauble like this using free machine embroidery, or just using your embroidery stitches on your sewing machine. So don't feel you have to be able to free machine embroider, but it's a really nice project. It's online. If you just go to my website, or I will again leave a link down below. I've really enjoyed doing that, and I will be doing some more online workshops next year. I've just got to get my thinking cap on and think what I'm going to do. So today, well, I was inspired last week. I come down here. I never quite know what I'm going to show you next. I finished off my landscape last time, and I was just trying to think what I was going to do next, and I sort of had mulling over in my head something using sort of greys and silvers and whites, maybe a landscape, maybe something a little bit sparkly, maybe with seed heads as well. I felt like something quite wintry because the weather's now changing, and so I got myself this lovely box of fabrics out. I go to my stash, and it's very good because all my stash is done in colours, so I can go to a box and I will get out all the silvery greys. I've got a box of dark greys, I've got whites, I've got all my colours, and that really helps me when it comes to planning a project. I also had this little notebook up that I made a little while ago in a previous video, and again it was the greys that were inspiring me. And lo and behold, when I came down to start planning this workshop, I actually came down last week, I can't remember what day it was now, it might even have been Friday, and the weather had changed and we had snow. We had snow on the hills, and that was just amazing. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking of winter, and then winter had come. So without more ado, I'm going to show you what I decided to do with these fabrics. It's going to be a small project which I think you might wish to do alongside me, I don't know. It's something that can be completed, I reckon, this week and next week, and I just felt like doing something small. I know Christmas is coming, I know people are getting busy with their preparations for that, so this is going to be a little bit of peace and quiet here, a bit of a distraction maybe, and I just was feeling a little bit festive, just a little bit festive, so I thought that kind of is reflected in what I've decided to do. So I will show you what I got up to. So first and foremost, what I've got here is a piece of, this is interlining, cotton interlining for curtains actually, but it could be any kind of wadding that you've got in, you know, quilting wadding or something like that. It's just something soft and felty. If you haven't got something like that, you could just be using something like a piece of felt. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to put a piece of calico behind there, and I'm hoping that's going to be stiff enough when I get some stitching in place. So this is basically a sort of a wintry landscape. So I've got like a palette of shades of thread here that I want to use. So I've got some shiny threads and I've got some matte threads in sort of shades of white and grey, which in its own self, I've extracted these from I have boxes with different coloured shiny threads in. I put all my silvers and my blues together, and I've just extracted, well, there's a purple in there for some weird reason, I've just extracted the colours that I think I might wish to use. So that, I think that helps when you're doing a project. I think it really helps to extract the fabrics that you want to use and to extract the threads that you want to use, and that kind of keeps you focused when there's really so much choice that you could be making depending on, you know, what you've got in your fabric stash. So what I'm going to do today, I've got a piece of greyish, silverish, it's a lining fabric I think, or a dress fabric that I have in. I've really got into these shiny fabrics lately, and we've got a lovely shop not that far away from me who do a lot of lovely dress fabrics. So I'm very lucky I can go there and get these gorgeous colours, and they're not very expensive really. And then I mix and match with all my upcycled fabrics that I get from charity shops basically. So this piece is a white piece that I'm going to put down there, and this is just going to allow me to have the background for what I want to be doing. So then I have got some different fabrics here. Now look at this. This is, I don't know, a bit of random dress fabric, but isn't that lovely? I mean, how's that for a bit of sheen and shine? I really just like that. It's a little bit of bling, and I think that we could all do with a bit of bling at the moment. I've also got this lovely stripy piece. This was quite, what's the word? I can't think what the word is. It looks like a seersucker almost, and I've ironed it flat so that it's a bit easier to use. So I've got that, and oh, I've also got this, which is a beautiful fabric that when you turn it over, it's got, I don't know if you can see that, it's got like silvery flowers on one side, and then you turn it over and the other side is silvery. So I thought I might pop that behind there. This is just really roughly, I've cut these shapes out, they're rough landscapey shapes. I'm very inspired all the time obviously by what I see out of my window, because I'm very lucky to live in the landscape that I'm currently working with. So I think I might put that there. So I'm just building up, this is my hills, this is my sky, and then in the foreground, because I was feeling all wintry and snowy, I've picked out some a bit of lace, and I've got some really nice kind of shiny organza-y stuff that I'm going to use, and that's that size. So I should tell you, this is really quite small. The finished piece is only going to be, I don't know how big that is actually. I'll need to measure it and let you know. I'll have to measure that and let you know. It's, I mean, that's my hand. It must be about 8 inches by 8 inches, I reckon, and the finished piece is going to be smaller than that. But I'm not going to tell you. There's a secret. There's a secret to this, which I'm not going to tell you just yet, because I want you to make your landscape first without thinking anything more than that. So if you're going to do this alongside with me, that's be lovely. And don't worry if you're not. Just enjoy what I'm doing, because I'm just playing. I'm doing my usual thing where I just play with my fabrics till I get it roughly how I want it to be. Now this is a little bit of like shiny scarf material. I haven't got a lot of it left actually. It's a sort of a stretchy netty stuff, and I thought I just quite fancied a bit of texture in here as well. And I've got a little bit more of the shiny stuff, the organza, which I might just add in some way. It might go up there, or it might come down here, or it might go in the sky. I think I might just include that here actually, so we've got a bit of different things going on. All I'm doing, you can see I've got very simple lines going on, and I've cut very simple pieces of fabric. It's all very you know, it's just, I can't describe it really. I don't use pattern pieces. I just look at the landscape. I'm always drawing it, so I've got a fair idea of how the lines on it go. But you could be working from a photograph, you can just work from your imagination, you know, you don't have to do what I do. I'm just showing you what I'm inspired by. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is a little sample piece, because I want to know how I'm going to stitch this. I'm not quite sure how dark I want to go or how light I want to be, you know, whether I want to put I want to do a sample so I can see whether I want to put the dark threads coming down into the white, whether I want to put the white threads going up into the grey areas. This is why I like to do a little sample, so I'm going to do that next. I'm just going to cut myself some simple little pieces about that sort of size, and I'm just going to actually stitch that, and then I'll know better what I'm going to do with this. Okay, so what I've done is I've pinned my fabrics, my little sample piece together here. It's got the same background as my main piece is going to have, so I've got the layers underneath, and I'm just going to do a bit of free machine embroidery to get these pieces set down and get them in place. And I'm just going to use the white on the white for now. And all I'm trying to do really at this stage is get the pieces held in place. Just take that pin out. Now obviously if you want to do this without free machine embroidery, you could do this with just your normal press a foot on and just do normal stitching. You don't have to do free machine embroidery. It just free machine embroidery is what I tend to do. And what I'm trying to do is make sure I stitch from one end to the other so that any sort of bulkiness in the fabric will just slowly get pushed from one end to the other. Now I'm going to change my colour of thread now because I'm moving into the greys. So I'm going to put a grey thread on. Okay, so I've changed my top thread. I've got a very soft grey colour on now. You can just about see it's not white on there. Just wanted something that's going to just hold all these pieces in place for me. As usual, I'm set up for my free machine embroidery because I've got my little free machine embroidery darning foot on. I've put my presser foot down and I've turned the stitch length down to 0. I forgot to say that before. So just in case you're new to free machine embroidery, I've also lowered my feed dog teeth so there's no catching underneath. And I can just move the fabric round where I want it to go. So I'm just going to stitch these bits down now. Okay, so that gives me now a little sample to play with. Just cut that thread there. I've got all those pieces are now held in place quite nicely, and what I'm loving is I've got a nice quilty effect going on, which is what I wanted. I didn't want it to be too flat for this little landscape. I wanted to let the wadding underneath just play its part by giving a bit of a quilted effect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play with some different coloured threads and see what I like on the top of here, and we'll see where that takes me. So on the top of my machine now I've got a shiny thread like this. It's a viscose one, which I really quite like to use. They're not quite as sort of blingy as an actual silver thread, but I think I'll put some silver in as well. But I just want to add a bit of sheen into the white down here, and I might bring it up into the silver as well. So I'm going to have a play with this now, and I'll show you it in my next video when it's all done, and then we'll move on to doing the big piece. And this is what's going to inform doing the big piece. It allows me to play with no sort of pressure. There's no outcome required from this. I'm going to play and see what I like and judge from there what I want to do in my bigger piece. So I will say that's all for now, and I will see you next week in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Great to have you here. Bye for now.